all the years that I've been working on myself and counseling other people, nothing is more important than that. To accept yourself and to trust yourself and to believe in yourself. Maslow said that was the character of personal power.
John Bradshaw captured the nation's attention when he popularized the concepts of the wounded inner child and the dysfunctional family. Born in Texas into a troubled family and abandoned by an alcoholic father, Bradshaw took education seriously, eventually earning a BA in sacred theology, an MA in philosophy, and completing 3 years of graduate work in psychology and religion, while at the same time struggling greatly with his own demons of addiction and depression. Eventually, he turned his own life around and his work took on new meaning as he helped others find the same salvation and peace he had found, authoring several New York Times bestsellers, including 1990's chart topper Homecoming, and hosting a number of PBS programs. Hello, I'm Ernie Manouse. Coming up on Interviews, our conversation with educator, counselor, and author John Bradshaw. Was there a point where you realized your message, your lessons were really connecting with people?
Yeah, it took me a while, because I'm a shame-based recovering addict myself. It took me a while to believe it, because deep down, when you're shame-based, you believe you're an imposter. I mean, that's one of the symptoms of shame. I knew I was a good teacher. I'd always been a good teacher. But I began to realize this is for real. I mean, there's just too many people and too many therapists telling me this. And, everywhere I go, I'm a senior fellow at the Meadows, and we do a lot of work with therapists. I'll say half of the group will come up and say, I'm showing those PBS shows to my clients. They're showing them in prisons. I've had over 50,000 letters from prisoners. So it's, and I want people to understand that PBS made that possible. There was no way I could have done this on commercial television. When I was about in the 5th grade, I was always kind of one of the favorites, because I was in the alcoholic family. I was what is called a star hero child. You got one member of the family that the system sets up to give the family dignity. So I was always the valedictorian, the captain of the team. When I was at St. Thomas High School, I was the president of the class, the editor of the paper. And yet I also I had these perfect years and then these terrible years. It was always all or nothing. They said I had a vocation. I don't know. I didn't know what I was going to do or where I was going to go. So going to the monastery was like a great relief for me. And I stopped drinking and screwing around and doing everything. And I took it seriously. When my mother died, she said, you became a priest after all, because I believe that what I began to do with PBS in '84 was a priestly kind of work. The Latin word for priest is sacerdos, a giver of sacred things. Now, what can be more sacred than helping a person find their life when they feel like they've gone off the path?
Because what we found is that by holding the stuffed animal, you've got one right there, by holding the stuffed animal, you can begin to access that inner child. You can begin to access the feelings. See, the inner child is your feelings, your needs, your wants. So many of us who are adult children don't know what we feel. We don't know what we need. We don't know what we want, because in those crazy families where violence was going on or alcoholism was going on or there was hypertension going on, you didn't have time to pay attention to your own internal cues.
So now you've understood family, and you've had a success with that, and you have a success with shame, and you're understanding all that. And then, as far as I'm concerned, your entire career bursts wide open with the inner child. It just changes everything. It changes the way people look at therapy. It's put a new vocabulary out there. Where does this come from?
I had been very much involved in transactional analysis, where you have the three circles, the parent, adult, and child, and how all of us can be talking out of our parent, talking out of our adult, and a lot of the what is called the adapted child is the way the child adapted to the parent. So some of the getting in trouble and all of that can be the child dominating the adult. So I knew that. I knew a guy named Hugh Missildine who had written a book called Your Inner Child of the Past. And he was a very big supporter of mine. He's the one that really encouraged me to do family and said, it doesn't matter whether you're a psychologist or not, you are a great teacher and you need to do this. And then it made so much sense to me that I could, I could look in the mirror and still have those bad messages. But when I looked at this, I have a picture of myself as a 3-year-old sitting on the porch looking at a bird. And I got Bantam Books to put that on the back cover of the paperback edition. Well, when I wrote that book, it just went soaring to #1. And for 59 weeks, it was #1. And for 3 years, and it's now in 44 languages. And
the book is Homecoming, just so people understand.
Yeah, Homecoming. And now that it's estimated 500,000 people have done the workshop, the Inner Child Workshop.
So old age brings with it the possibility of integration of all previous ego strengths. And wisdom, and my definition of wisdom, is to know what's important and know what isn't important. Don't sweat the small stuff. Not to know the relative dispositions of things is to be a slave. But to have mapped out the universe is the boast of philosophers. And people become philosophers in their old age, and they begin to have some wisdom because they've seen the whole. When you've lived 70 years, you can see the whole come into view.
Now, we began this whole conversation talking about your personal life and your life journey. I just want to know, where are you at today in your life?
Enormously happy, feeling a lot of physical decay. You know, it's almost like I just got fitted for some hearing aids last week. It's like I'm having to rebuild my body all over again. I'm still incredibly excited about learning. You know, I've always been a student, and I love taking these great courses. But a lot of the work, personal work, is prayer and meditation. It's an opening of a door into silence where you may hear someone say something to you. And that's kind of a nice way to talk about prayer for me. And then meditation, one of the professors at Harvard went all over the world, studied all the meditation, came back and just taught the graduate students breathing exercises. Breathe in, breathe out, focus on the intervals, and then just, in other words, it takes practice. It's like hitting a golf ball to groove your swing. You have to stay with a spiritual life. It's a discipline, but there's a point where kind of meditation is the booster rocket, and at a certain point you begin to move into another space, a higher consciousness. When you're there, it's like you have a new sense of yourself. It's not anything you do, it's just who you are. You want me to draw the tree and you put the leaves on it?
Yeah.
Okay, I draw the tree.
No, with this pen.
Oh, with this pen. The most beautiful thing is to wake up and hear my wife putting my baby girl socks on and talking so sweet to her. And then I open my eyes and she goes, "Hi, Papa." And she's just so excited to see me.
And I want to clarify, your baby girl is 5 and a half?
5 and a half, yeah.
That's got to keep you young.
Well, no kidding. I mean, God, I can hardly keep up with her. And I finally figured out with a girl, baby girl 5 and a half, you know, with my son, I'd play with him, but it would be me watching the Oiler game and him in the room with Ariel. I meet her at her map of the world. I mean, we're fighting dinosaurs, and I have the ray gun, and then we go through the same dinosaur over and over again. And I have more patience than I ever had, and It's just joyful to watch her evolve.
I want to say thank you for helping all of us evolve. Thank you for evolving for us, and all the wonderful work that you've done over the years. An honor to sit here and talk with you.
Oh, an honor for me to be here, and to thank PBS. You know, it made it all possible.
John Bradshaw.